Welcome everyone to our workshop today on Asana strategies to eliminate workplace burnout. We are live on LinkedIn. For those of you watching the replay, either on YouTube, thanks for spending the next 30 minutes on 2X with us in stunning 4K resolution, not this choppy internet connection we have here today. But I'm excited to have you all here today. My name is Marquis Murray, and I am an Asana consultant and the CEO of Surface. We are a systems improvement consultancy, and we're really on a mission here at Surface to eliminate workplace burnout by streamlining how teams work together. But before we dive in, I'd love to know where everyone is joining from. I'm here on LinkedIn. I'm seeing we're in Sacramento, North Texas, in the Netherlands. We're all over the place. Mexico, that's great. Thanks for being here today. But feel free to drop in the chat your location. It's always exciting for me to see how diverse our audience can actually be. And so for today, we're going to be going through quite a bit, and I'm really excited for this chat. We'll be exploring some more powerful strategies using Asana that can help you to create healthier and more resilient workplaces for your team. So we're going to go through today's agenda so that you know exactly what to expect from our time together. And first, we're going to explore what burnout is, right? Why it's become such a significant issue in today's workplaces, and we'll touch on the concept of what I'm calling the burnout economy. And really, we're going to focus on the systemic factors that contribute to this omnipresent issue. Next, we'll discuss the shift of how we work, especially in the wake of more recent global events, and how these changes have impacted our stress levels and our productivity. We'll then take a look at how Asana is at the forefront of combating workplace burnout, and I'll share some strategies and tools that Asana offers to help you manage your tasks and streamline your workflows and ultimately reduce stress. That's what we're all here for today. We'll then get to a hands-on live demo. These are my favorite because I can actually show you how to do this, and I'll be walking you through some of those demos and strategies to show you exactly how to implement them with your teams. And then towards the end, I'll provide some free resources to further support you and your team on your journey towards a healthier, more productive work environment. And then finally, we'll wrap up with some Q&A where I'll be answering any questions that might have come up based on the content I've covered. But like I said, we're live today on LinkedIn. I've got a screen right here in front of me. I've got one off to the side, so I'll do my best to look at the comments and be answering your questions as we go through. A few members of my team are here today as well, and so they may jump in to answer those questions if I can't get to them live. Sound good? Let's keep going. So I want to tell you a bit more about Surface before we jump in. We specialize in making Asana work smarter for mostly marketing and e-commerce teams. And our mission, again, is to eliminate workplace burnout by enabling teams to optimize the way that they work together. And our vision is really a world where teams are perfectly in sync, understanding the where, the how, and the why of all of their tasks. Because the fact is that with 89% of teams facing burnout since 2020, our goal over the next decade is to help at least 1 million people work together. So that's what we're here to do today. And before we get started, just one more point. I know you typically come to these types of workshops, you expect to be sold something. That's not what we're here to do today. I'm doing a demo. I want to help. I want to show you how me and my team at Surface do this and how we help hundreds of other customers do this as well. But if you do stay to the end of this workshop, we'll be giving away a prize here based on engagement, right? So throughout the session, feel free to ask questions, share your thoughts in the chat, and then jump into any discussions that may come up. Not only will it make the workshop more valuable for you and for everyone here, but it also gives you a shot at winning one of our Asana audits. So make sure that you are liking, there they go. Make sure that you are liking, clapping, sharing this link, and inviting more people into this as well. And in the next couple of days, we'll be selecting a winner to go through our intensive Asana audit for you and your team. So make sure that you are in that chat. All right. I'm going to let you read this here for a second and let it sink in. But we now live in what many call a burnout economy, where work seems endless and stress is really the new normal. But here's the crucial takeaway that I want to highlight. We as leaders can and should view high rates of burnout as a powerful warning sign. And whether we want to admit it or not, we all at one point or another will experience burnout. And that's why I really want to bring awareness to the issue, to give you the strategies to keep it at bay within your organization. And so I'd love to know by a show of hands who here has experienced burnout firsthand. Click the support button there in inside of LinkedIn if you've been there or know someone who has. Don't be shy, they're just emojis, but I'd love to know if anyone has been there, if you felt this or been impacted by this in your life, either directly or indirectly. And feel free to put a little comment as to how that's impacted your life. And so I can't see a lot of you right now, but I'm assuming you're all putting your hands up. I can see the supports coming in. Thank you so much. That's a lot of people that this is impacting right now. And so that's, again, why I'm so excited to be bringing this content to you today. So what I also know is that you and I are not in the minority here, right? Stats taken from a 2019 study by Sapio Research and then released in Asana's Anatomy of Work in 2020 show that 4 out of 10 people on your team are burned out right now. Let that sink in for a second. 4 out of 10 people are burned out. And you can look up this study yourself if you want to see the numbers, but I've been following these numbers and stats for the last several years. And some good news, we're slowly seeing declines in the percentage of people that are impacted by this, but there's still such a long way to go. And so employee burnout has never been higher, right? And deeper findings reveal that 42% of workers experience burnout and imposter syndrome at the same time. Who can resonate with that? I know we've all felt some form of imposter syndrome at some point in our careers. And then we have 61% of workers that said that their productivity has affected their mental health. I know I'm one of those 61%. And then the third stat here, 40% of workers think that burnout is an inevitable part of their success. Can you imagine that? Do you feel that? That they feel that burnout is something that they're just going to have to deal with, they're going to have to come to terms with if they want to be successful in their roles and their careers. And again, why Surface exists and why I'm here today is because I want to change that narrative, right? And so I'm educating and bringing awareness to this issue. And so these numbers, as you can see, they highlight a significant issue. Burnout is not just an individual problem, right? It's a systemic one that affects productivity and overall well-being on a massive scale. And so now we all know what burnout is. I'm sure we've heard about it. You're going to hear a lot more about it today. But according to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, burnout is one's stress response to systemic or workplace issues. Notice the stress on the workplace there, right? It's categorized by emotional, physical, and mental fatigue resulting from prolonged and excessive workplace stress, right? Not home stress, not children's stress, not physical fatigue from going to the gym. It is workplace stress that is centered around the work that we're doing and trying to engage collaboratively in every single day. And burnout can manifest itself in many different ways, whether it's emotionally, it can lead to feelings of helplessness, frustration, and really just a lack of motivation. Physically, it might show up as constant fatigue, headaches, or other stress-related ailments. And mentally, Burnout can cause difficulties in concentration and memory issues, right? So if you've ever felt like you have this fog, this memory fog, you can't focus, you can't think, you're constantly distracted, you may be on the brink of burnout. So imagine waking up every day feeling exhausted, like I'm sure most of us do. Even after a full night's sleep, you still don't feel rested. You feel detached maybe from your job. The tasks that once seemed manageable or even enjoyable now just really feel overwhelming. And you might even experience a sense of cynicism or negativity towards your work or colleagues. And I want to highlight that it wasn't always this way, right? When we started, we were so excited to get going. And then at some point along the way, things just took a turn for the worst. And so you should really know that this isn't simply you just being tired, right? It's your body's response to stress telling you to slow down. The question is, are you willing to listen? Leave this picture here for a second, let you study it. I myself am not a stranger to burnout. This is a selfie that I took back in July of 2020. We all know what came with that year, but this picture was taken at some point between 3 and 4 in the morning. It was my routine that I would get up in the morning, get our kids ready for day camps. We're all outside at that time, or their activities in the morning. And then I would spend my day at my desk in back-to-back meetings, doing everything, putting out fires, saying yes to all requests, taking on tasks that weren't mine, but I did it because I could do it better or I thought I could do it faster, and just taking on absolutely everything. And I had struggled with anxiety up until this point for a few years. Had started therapy to talk about these issues, but it wasn't really helping. I wasn't fully committing to it. And the environment that I was creating within my own company wasn't allowing me to really break free of this. And so at the time, to create some more context, I was winding down a marketing agency that I had started 4 years prior, and I was shifting into process improvement and consulting. And again, my routine would be that I'd be on calls all day, and then on that last call, I'd be squeezing my stress ball. My legs would be shaking uncontrollably. I'd be smiling, but really inside, I couldn't wait to get off of those calls, and I would slump onto the floor after the call, and my body would just start to vibrate as I felt the adrenaline come up through my toes, my legs, go through my body, and it would just cripple me. And it's like I could fake it for the people on the camera or on Zoom. But when it came to my home life, I couldn't fake it for them. I was closed off. I was a shell of a human being. My wife would try and talk with me, and every night when I would go back to my office after putting the kids down, she'd give me a kiss and say, "Don't stay up too late. I'll see you in the morning." Right? This was our norm. I wasn't available for my kids. I would ignore my responsibilities at work. There were calls that I would host that I wouldn't show up to, and I wouldn't even tell anybody. Because what burnout does for me is it puts me into a place where I retreat mentally, emotionally, and I withdraw and I seek out silence and I seek out being by myself. And so I took this picture because this had been my norm for so long. And I was committed to never feeling this way again, because when I started my business, it was so that I could experience a sense of freedom through entrepreneurship. And I wasn't anywhere close to that. And so I committed to redefining how I worked. I committed to redefining what kind of leader I was. I committed to taking the time to document all of our processes, to improve how we worked, because I realized that need to improve how teams worked needed to come from within me. And we've all heard the story of the cobbler's kids having no shoes. Unfortunately, we're in that situation. But I took this picture so I could always remind myself of where I came from, the commitment that I made to myself that night right after taking this picture, to know that that was the old me. That was my old way of thinking. That was where I loved chaos and wanted to be at the center of everything, to a more streamlined way of working where I resource my team and I work on the things that help them and empower them to help me and the company and our mission move forward, thus creating a better environment for everyone. So I share all that to say, I get it, I've been there, but there is hope. But I also want you to think, if this isn't you, right, think about the people, those 4 out of 10 people that you work with that may be in this situation and don't have the space or the freedom or the confidence or the don't have the safe structure or environment to admit that to you. So there is hope. There is hope. And so obviously we know over the past few years, we've seen a massive shift, right, in how teams collaborate. We've seen the rise of remote work, digital communication tools, and global teams, and how they work has fundamentally changed, right? And so based on the story I just told, I needed a change. I needed more clarity, not chaos, right? My team needed more alignment, not uncertainty. We all need more streamlined processes, not bottlenecks. And when I finally decided to invest in more automated workflows, not manual touch points, that's when I saw the change really happen. So what I want you to do is hit the like button if your team transitioned to remote work during the pandemic, right? And then let me know in the chat how many of you are still in this remote hybrid setup. Go ahead and put that in the chat, because this way of working is not going away. But what it really requires is a shift in thinking, right? And this is where Asana comes in. Asana really helps us to adapt to this new dynamic environment where we're keeping our teams more connected and we're ensuring that we're really all on the same page, literally and figuratively. We need to embrace this shift. It's a shift from the former container model, right, where siloed information is happening. There is duplicate work happening, and this creates an inability for us to scale, right? Scale our organizations, scale our teams effectively, and to, again, move away from burnout. And we really have to shift our thinking towards a more cross-functional model, right, where everything's centered around our business objectives. We can see the connection and the link to cross-team coordination and how that's helping us be more effective, efficient, and productive. And not just for the sake of profitability, but for the improvement in our well-being, right? And so that's why this is so important. And then we can see the link to the individual impacts that our contributions are making to the overall business objectives and missions as well. Just going to see if there's any questions here. We are now permanently remote after forced remote from the pandemic. That's probably a good thing. I hope that's a good thing. That feels like a good thing. Remaining 100% remote. Yes, remote. I love that. I love that. But that's not the case for all teams. So now let's look at some real world examples. We're going to transition to the demo in just a moment here. But if you weren't aware, some of the biggest names across various industries rely on Asana every single day to fight workplace burnout and improve their productivity and the productivity of their teams. Companies like HubSpot, companies like Google, PayPal, Spotify, these are all the visionaries that saw the future of work, where things were headed, and then started using Asana to streamline their workflows and create a healthier work environment for themselves and for everyone around them. And so by adopting Asana, these industry leaders have been able to one, centralize their processes and tasks. This makes it way easier for teams to stay on track. Number two, this has allowed them to implement standardized procedures, reducing the stress and ambiguity and miscommunication. And then 3, it's helped them to improve visibility into their projects, which allows better planning and then prioritization. And so their main reason, and what I kind of want to highlight here, their main reason for this change was to create a culture that supports their team's well-being and productivity. And so we're going to switch over here, like I said, okay? I want to dive into the heart of this workshop and show you what those specific strategies are. And I will say that I initially plan to present seven strategies, but I realized that we wouldn't have enough time to dive into each of them. And so I didn't want to be rushed. And so what I've done is actually combined a few and selected the most crucial ones that I believe will yield the quickest results and are most important to get started implementing right away. So hope you forgive me if you were coming here looking for 7 strategies. I apologize. I've got 4 really good ones for you today. And the first one we're going to look at here in a second is around process and task standardization, right? So when you document and centralize your SOPs right where your work's happening in Asana, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Everyone knows exactly what steps to follow. There's clarity that reduces confusion and ensures that tasks are completed consistently and efficiently. And then it also centralizes all of our processes, meaning that any new team members coming on board can onboard smoothly, and then any existing team members can easily reference procedures without having to hunt down any information. So let's take a look at what that looks like. The first thing we're going to take a look at here is our SOP index, as we call it. So this is simply a project within Asana where we're housing all of our documentation. On my YouTube channel, if you search Marquis Murray on YouTube, I have videos where I walk you step by step how to build all of this out. And so if you want more detail, just head over to the channel. But for today, I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can actually do this. So within Asana, we have some sections that we've set up that we can collapse if needed. In the top section, we have SOP index resources. So this is how to add SOPs to the index. We have how to document tech we use. Tech we use is simply the tech that we use inside of our organizations. And then we have a template that we can pull from for any SOPs. And so what this is a link where you can put a video recording. You have the purpose of the SOP. You have the roles that would need to reference this SOP. We have any of the resources needed. So this is listing out all the tools, software, all the documents. We have notes here. And then we have the process starting with step 1. And so what we've then done is we've broken down all of the SOPs. This is not an exhaustive list, of course, but we have general company information, we have dev and IT, finance, HR, and then sales in this example. You can add anything you want, marketing as well. But if we take a look at this first one here, we open up the task detail, we can see that it's got a spot for, again, our recording and then all of our steps. So this is how to connect your Google Calendar to HubSpot. We use Google Calendar and we use HubSpot. So this is something that our team needs to know pretty much all of the time. And you'll notice that, yes, it lives in the SOP index here, okay, under the general information tab. But if we go up here to the parent task, we'll see that it lives inside of this task called Google Calendar that is in our tech we use project. So I'm going to go to that project here on the side so you can see what it looks like. So really all we've done is we've taken the SOP index, we've added some different sections up top, and then we've started to sort this by the board view here. So we can see all of our different tools by the function or the role of the person that would actually use it. So here we have administrative, finance, marketing, sales, and then operations. And if we drill down into QuickBooks here, we can see that this first subtask here is the SOP for how to send invoice reminders in QuickBooks. So we know that this is something that a finance personnel on our team would be using. and would need to reference quite often. And then again, we have the link here to the video. This is a Loom video. We use Loom and loom.com to record all of our SOPs. We have the notes here, we have the process, and then depending on the SOP, we'll typically have images here as well. And so you can see, I will do another example here, okay? Here's another SOP. And what we can do is, if we know that it stems from this tech we use project, I'm gonna press Tab P, and I'm gonna select the SOP index, and then I'm gonna put it under this section for finance right here. So now it originated from the tech we use, but if we go back over to the SOP index, down to the finance section, we can see that that subtask has now been multi-homed to this project. So that's one of the ways that we can do it, and we can utilize these two projects or these two different views to gain access to the information that we need. So let me know what you think of these examples here so far. Do you have something like this that's similar inside of your space? Would something like this help you? I'm going to show you one other option for what this could look like, because again, we are a systems improvement consultancy. We've actually improved how we display our SOPs since our earlier creation of the SOP index and the tech we use. Now what we do is we have this one project where we don't have sections. These are groups, okay? And we've decided to group, in this case, by this custom field that we call category / technology. So this is all the technology that we use inside of Surface, okay? We have it all here. And then we have things like general company information, development SOPs, administrative SOPs, everything around Notion, anything you could really need, right? And so then we decide to sort and group by those. We're still in the process of transferring over a lot of our SOPs to this format, but this is how we're currently doing it. You can see the department that it would impact or would need to use this SOP. You can see the roles. So something like how to share temporary login access to 1Password is something that any team member may be able to do. And then we have how to remove client guest access and credentials, which is something that our customer success manager would do. And so then across the top, we have all these different views where we've just filtered for the relevant information. So we wanted to see all general company SOPs in this one view. We wanted to see all administrative related SOPs, so things that the CSM would do, someone in operations would do, an executive assistant would do, and then our delivery team, what they would do to enable and help our clients every single day as well. So this is another way that you can do it. I prefer this way. I've learned that, with the new views and sort and grouping, that we can actually create bigger databases inside of Asana and then create the views that we want as well, either by grouping them or just simply changing the filter. So if we wanted to see by role, we could say contains customer success manager, right? And then we can simply save a new tab, and we can call this tab CSM SOPs, like so. And then our CSM, rather than having to comb through all the SOPs, can simply come to this tab to see all the SOPs that are relevant for them. So again, another way to keep everything centralized, keep everyone on the same page, and then help with our onboarding as well. I'm going to go to number 2 here, which is capacity planning. This is one thing that our team hears all of the time. How do I know who's working on what? How do I know who's overloaded? How do I know when we can assign work to some people? How do I know when we can start projects, right? We can do all of that within Asana. It's still growing as far as capabilities go, but it's gotten a lot better in the last, 6 or 7 months here. So I'm going to show you what some of those examples look like here. Let's go to our next section. So here we have a portfolio. I'm not going to show you how to set up a portfolio. I'm going to assume you already know how. But again, on my YouTube channel, I've got lots of content on how to go over the basics of Asana. We have a 2024 Asana basics video if you're just getting started. So feel free to have a look at that. But in this case, we have our portfolio. We decided to sort it by the status so we can see all of our on-track projects, at-risk projects, off-track, and then on hold here as well. And what I want to highlight here is the workload feature. So this feature is only available on either the advanced or enterprise plans. If you're on the starter or the premium, then you're not going to have access to this just yet. And if you go to workload, the default that it shows you is the task count. So I can open up this right here and I can see that Happy Gilmore is on these 4 projects as a member or a collaborator. And then you can see all the tasks that Happy Gilmore is assigned to in this case. But if we were to go into each of these 3 projects, we can see that we can now start to use either estimated time to track the workload. So we're going in at a really granular level and putting the estimated time for each of these tasks. We can then use Asana's time tracking feature to record the actual time here. If I go to our next project, we can do this by percentage allocation as well. So what you would do is go up to customize and you would go to your fields here. And if you don't have either estimated time or percentage allocation activated as a custom field in this project, it would give you a prompt here to add time. But you could simply go to add field. You would go to choose from library and you could search in estimated time. As you can see, it's already there. Or we can go percentage allocation and pull that in as a field to our project. And then the last one I'll show you here is simply estimated hours. So what some teams like to do is rather than going the estimated time route or the percentage allocation route, they can go and put in, say, points, story points, if you will, to estimate that time as well. It doesn't matter what the level of effort or the measure of effort looks like, as long as we are tracking through one of these means. And I will say that in order for this to work, we need to have an assignee and a due date, as well as that measure of effort filled in as well. So here we have a few team members. We've got our due dates that are from today, upcoming, and then we have our estimated time. So now when I go back to our portfolio and our workload, rather than viewing by task count here, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to switch to estimated time, like so. And so now we can see all of the projects that they're still assigned to. Let's go to our Happy Gilmore example. We're on the same projects, but now rather than simply tasks that are assigned, we can see how long the estimate of time is for each task. So in this case, we've estimated about 5 hours for this task here. And we can see all the rest as we go through, okay? So what I'm gonna show you now is you can also edit that effort to change it to percentage allocation, total audience, or like I said, story points if you want. You can do whatever you want, but as you can see, Asana is recommending one of these 2. And then we can go in and we can edit our capacity for team member. We have a standard, 40 hours across the whole org right now. But if we wanted to change the capacity of, an individual team member, we can do that and then set their capacity. So let's go back to our Happy Gilmore example. We're going to change this from 5 hours to 50 hours. We don't know how that's going to work, but let's just follow the example for a little bit. So right now, 50 hours over the course of 4 weeks isn't so bad. But with this burnout economy that we now are in, we're overloading ourselves more than we ever have, right? And so now we can see that for Happy Gilmore, their daily capacity is only 4 hours, but on this day they have 5 hours of work, right? If we shorten that time frame even more, we can see that we have 9 hours and 20 minutes worth of work. And so this is what's happening in a lot of cases. I see this all the time where people either don't have a good understanding of what this is, or they see where their teams have been overloaded for the first time when we turn on some of these features. And so as you've seen me do already, we can simply stretch out the time, or we can move and balance these these tasks to other individuals that either have more capacity, right, or have open time. And so you're able to then balance this really, really quickly. And the other thing that I'll show you here is our new capacity planner reporting tool. So the way to get to that is you go under Insights, you're going to go to Reporting, you're going to click on Create, and then you're going to go to Capacity Plan right here. Okay, so I've already got it made. But the way that this works is you are able to add people. So I'll bring in Happy Gilmore. I'll bring in a few other team members here, just so we can start to see what this looks like on a larger scale. So we brought in our people. Okay, we can see the total hours up here. And what's nice about this is this actually gives us a view of all of the projects that they are assigned to. Now, Asana is in the works of updating this capacity a little bit. We're going to see some changes that's going to make this a lot easier. But now we can see all the projects that these individuals are on, like so. Okay, and so we have our total hours here. And what will happen is we can change it from total hours, okay, to either percentage allocation or project count. So let's just scroll back here. I can't see my little bar. Where did it go? Let's try this again. Oh, that's not fun. Let's save this view and see if I can refresh here. All right, I apologize. The status bar is just out of my view and I can't get to it to scroll back, but you can see here what we're missing is we can see that the weekly capacity in this case for Happy Gilmore is 100%. And based on this day or this stretch, they're at 3% of their weekly capacity. We can then zoom out even more. Oh, my bar keeps disappearing. That's not good. We can zoom out even more to see things at a month's view. We can continue zooming out. There we go. And we can see overall for the entire year or the quarter where our people are at. And then we can go into those individual projects to see exactly where they're overloaded and do the same thing that we did inside of workload. We can either stretch this out to distribute the work and balance things a little bit more, or we can move this work somewhere else as well. So this is a great way to get a global view on all the work that your team is working on. You can see where they're overloaded. You can see where they may be on the brink of burnout because they're just taking on way too much. And again, they may not be in the situation where they feel comfortable telling you, because if we remember, we just feel like this is an inevitable part of our success. And so we may not be so prone to voice these opinions when we have the opportunity. All right. So let's go to number 3 here. We're going to talk about automation now. And so with this, we can all agree that automation plays a really important role in eliminating stress and burnouts, right? I often hear, I just want to automate as much as I can because tasks are falling through the cracks. We have to do this thing over and over again. There's lots of manual rework. And we want to make sure that when a task is unblocked, someone gets notified. And so these are the types of things that we're using automation for to eliminate stress and burnout by using Asana. And so by doing this, it reduces manual, repetitive tasks. It obviously saves us time. It reduces errors and frees up us mentally for more important and strategic work. And so I'm curious, let's just go over here for a second. I'm curious to know if any of you are using automation with your tasks right now. Let me know in the chat. Let me know how you're using automation inside of Asana. Maybe you're plugging into Zapier or something else. I would love to know how you're using automation, and I'll do my best to keep up with the chat here. I love the activity. I'm curious who's going to be winning that new audit or that audit today for their team. Okay, great. So I'll wait for those to come in. But what we're going to look at is how we can set up rules to automatically assign tasks to team members. We can set due dates with automation. We can move tasks between projects, between sections or stages within our workflow based on certain triggers that we can set up. And so for today's workshop, I'm going to show you how you can automate intake requests. That is the use case we're going to look at today. We're not building from scratch, but I will show you how to access the rule builder. We're going to look at some advanced rule building as well, just to give you an understanding of what is possible. Okay, because when we look at requests, whether it's project requests or new ideas or design requests coming in from your team, right, these requests can often fall through the cracks, and we don't have a way to track the status of them, the ongoing projects. We don't have any approval processes, and so that in itself can be very, very time consuming. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So here we have this social media requests project here. And as you can see, this looks pretty familiar. We all use some version of this inside of our project. But when we see them, the work is still not as streamlined as it could be. The conversations are happening in Slack. The requests are coming in through email and Teams, and they're all over the place. So the goal with something like this is to ease the workload of our marketing managers, of our project managers, of our designers, of anyone who's in charge of doing approvals and reviews, whatever the case may be. Think of your own use case for your team, but that's what we'd be doing here. So we have these different sections. We have an inbox where the task would come in. We have an in progress section and an approval section, and then we have our completed section here as well. So for this example, we're going to pull up a form that we've created. We're calling it social media requests. We're going to view said form, and we're going to fill in some information. Title, I need one second. I need images of cute puppies. Can you put attachments inside of LinkedIn? I would love for someone to put an image of a cute puppy inside of the LinkedIn chat for me so I can see it. But I got sidetracked. So let's do that again. We're going to view that. All right. Alex Murphy request title. I need cute puppy dog pictures for a new campaign. If you know me, you know I love dogs. Okay, so we're looking at graphic design, photography. I didn't specify videos, so I wouldn't check that one. Request details. The cutest dogs you can find. Bonus points if they are wearing cute little outfits. Oh man, my brain sometimes. All right, priority. This is high priority. I need those puppy pictures. All right, and then we can attach anything here as a reference to the person who is reviewing said information. So our form is now. Oh, we got some emojis of some dogs here. No pictures yet. I guess we can't attach pictures in LinkedIn chat. There we go. So our request has come in, and we've titled it so we can see that you can see the submitter's name, and we can see the title of their request. Okay. As you can see, there's no other information filled out, but with automations, we can simply go in. We've got a couple here that set the stage, right? When a task is added to inbox, mark it as status new request, which we have over here, right? And then we're moving it to the inbox section. But if we wanted to do a bit more, we could add a rule. Okay, this is our basic rule builder, where when it comes into the inbox, we can assign it to a certain person, right? So we can set the assignee, and we're going to set it to happy. In this case, we're going to create that rule. Then I'm going to go in, I'm going to create another rule. We can also go over to customize and go to rules here to see the list of rules and edit them. But if we go in here, we can create a rule. I'm going to switch over for a second, update to the new rule builder, right? So we can say when a task is moved to the section, we're going to add a condition. What section is it? It's going to be the inbox. And then we want to I don't know, let's add a comment where it would say to a certain person, maybe. It could be the rule triggerer, the task creator, or the assignee, right? In this case, we're going to do the default. We're going to say assignee. There is a new request for you to review. Please have a look at it, right? And so this is what will show up for them. When it comes in, we can now publish that rule. Let's just rename that rule. So we'll call this new request submission alert, like that. And so we can publish this rule here. So the next time that we submit a form like that, it comes in through this stage. Now, I'm not gonna go through all the different use cases. We don't have time for that today. Again, my YouTube channel, Marquis Murray, has in-depth videos on how to build custom rules and more advanced rules. But what's nice about this is as it comes through here, we can automate just about anything. We go to the in progress stage, and then the assignee could change. We could even go as far as to what I like to do when it's moved there. We can add a, we can create a subtask then that says approve the request in parent task. And then we can go in and edit this. We can change this from a task to add approval. I lied. Let's go back. Rather than adding a subtask, I'm going to add an approval. So this wants us to create an approval subtask. That's a fairly recent change, but approve task in parent task. And again, we can add variables here, or we can assign it to a specific person. Then we can publish said rule. So now when it's moved here, those updates are made and changed. So this is a great way to streamline your communication, all of your different requests that come in, and to make sure that everything goes through a specific order. Because as we go through in progress, and these lists can get pretty lengthy. All right, we can lose things pretty easily. We can then move to approvals. And what I won't show you today, but will let you know you can do, is when it comes to some of these tasks, right, they're a lot bigger and we need more space. We need more planning. We need more resources. We need more time. We need to bring a team around it. And so we could turn these tasks into projects that are then assigned to a project owner or a project manager. And then those projects are added to their portfolio where they can get a view of all the things that they need. They can see the workload of their team within that portfolio view. They can get a nice dashboard of all the related stats and metrics and KPIs that they are then responsible for in that portfolio view as well. So there's so much that we can do here. See if we've got any questions. Let me just scroll back up a little bit. Bundles have helped up our game with automations. Yes, I love bundles. I should have gone over bundles today. That'll be for next workshop. I used to create subtasks that move us through our process and assign to the right people when they need to do something. I love that. Perfect. Biggest challenge with this has always been finding the time to create the SOPs. Yes, I know. But looking at it done like this makes my brain so happy. Thanks for giving some more motivation for this today. So yeah, like we're jumping back up a little bit, but yeah, I totally agree. SOPs aren't easy. Like they take a lot of time, but what I always recommend is throw on loom.com. You're going to do the task anyway. You might as well just like say out loud what you're doing and record your screen as you're doing it. That's the starting point. Don't feel like you need to make space and take lots of time to do this. You can do it as you go about your normal work day. So just a bit of encouragement there for you. All right, let's get to our last one, which is process improvement, okay? And then we're gonna open up the floor for some questions and we're gonna see who was most engaged today. So make sure the comments are still coming in. If anyone hasn't liked or supported or loved in a little bit, make sure we do that. So here we have process improvement. We're going to be talking about feedback forms and meeting templates. Okay, and so this is another big request that we often get is how do we keep everyone on the same page? How do we improve our processes? Just like the comments I just read. How do we like take the time to document our SOPs? Where are we getting all that time? How do we do it? But if we don't do this, teams are often faced with unclear processes or redundant tasks or bottlenecks, right? And that can lead to more frustration, increased stress, more burnout. So that's why I cannot stress enough the need for continually improving and refining those processes, right? So by doing this, you can reduce unnecessary stress, again, create a more streamlined and productive workplace for everyone on your team. Right. And so let's take a look at what some of that looks like right now and how we can use Asana to do that. All right. So we're on our last section here. So the first thing I want to show you is a project. Now, I always say this. What I love about Asana is it's a big open box. You can do whatever you want with it. You can configure it any way. If you have access to third-party integrators or automation tools like Zapier and Make and N8N, you can crack open Asana through the API and do just about anything. We're looking at one use case here today on how we can do meeting agendas to keep everyone aligned. And so we have a section for 2023. This project could easily be called 2024 leadership meetings. And then each section could be your quarter if you wanted to, and you could plan out all the meetings you needed to have over that quarter, whether it's finance meetings, L10 meetings. We use EOS here at Surface, and so we have level 10 meetings every single Thursday. But the way that we get started is by creating a task template. Okay, so I'm going to open up this task template and deploy it. And I'm going to move it to 2024. Again, we can add an automation that does that for us automatically. And we are at May 30th, one day after my birthday. It was a great birthday yesterday. I had to say that, obviously. Great. And then, so this is what our template looks like. And following the EOS framework, we have a 5-minute segue. We have our scorecard where we're going to review all of our relevant metrics. We have our rocks review. Rocks are just simply goals. And so we're reviewing all of that. And then we're talking about, customer, team, headlines, whatever your agenda looks like, it doesn't really matter, right? But the goal is that we have a standardized way, and whoever is the person that is responsible for setting up the agenda or initiating the meeting, they can come and simply use that task template. Now, if this was our level 10 meeting template, we could create sections here. So agenda, to-dos. What I really like to do is add action items. Action item 1, and then action item 2, and then tab N. We can create another section in the subtask, and we can call this action items, right? And then we can put those subtasks underneath that. We can have another one. I like to do this. Oh, not there. Where we call it decisions made, whatever the case may be. You can do anything you want to. And then in the top, in the corner here, we would then simply convert this to a task template. All right. And when you open up the customize side here, we can go down to task template. We can see the existing one that we deployed earlier, and we can see our new one. And then you can see that the version of the task that we had before just simply says converted to template. We can roll that back if we want to, but then we could just move this out of the way. We don't have to look at it. And if we made a mistake or want to update our template, we can go in and we can edit that template as well with any information that we need. All right, and the last one I'm going to show you here before we take some questions is our process improvement workflow. So there are no tasks here, but again, we start with a form, right? And so the way that this works is inside of EOS, you would call this the issues list. We've built these out for customers where this is a new request or a new ideas project. And so we know how forms work. We would be filling out this form. We would describe the current process that we need to improve. What improvements do we suggest? Or this could be, what's your new idea? One question we ask in Surface is, how does this help us move closer to our mission, right? And so we're getting them to answer all these questions, and they go into this new submission stage here, where we can then review them. In EOS, we have IDS. It's identify, discuss, and then solve. And so those are the items that we're discussing on our level 10 weekly meetings. But we can go through this here. We can review it, whatever that looks like in your team. You can at least see all the ideas. We can add the custom fields we want for status and stage and approvals and whatever it may be, an impact on the company. We can connect it to our goals in the company as well. And then we can move it through these various stages. And then ones that we don't want to move forward with, they can either be moved to not implemented or deferred. We have a validated or an invalidated section within ours as well. So if it's not a good idea or things have changed, right, we can move them through here. But this is the space for all those items that your team keeps giving you feedback on. Hey, we should do this. Hey, we need this. Hey, it'd be cool if we could do this. This would make my job so much easier, right? I always encourage our team, submit the idea, use this space, because we review this as leadership, and as business leaders, we should be reviewing these and hearing the feedback and taking that feedback and applying it here. So that's what that looks like. And I do have a version of this again on YouTube. Just based on time today, we're not going to go through the whole thing though. I'm going to take a little bit of a breath. Wish I had some water here. But we're going to wrap up today's workshop. Don't leave yet. I've got a couple more things for you that you've stayed and you've waited this long for. And so I want to leave you with this thought, right? Ending burnout in the workplace is an ongoing commitment. We need to be committed to this. It doesn't end once you've applied the strategies that we've discussed today. Continuous improvement is essential to long-term success. And so for me, combating burnout, it needs regular review. It needs regular refinement of your processes to keep workloads manageable and reduce the stress for your team. And because the workplace is constantly changing, and your adaptability is constantly changing, and there are different demands on you, we need to have a way where we can, maintain and improve our workplaces. And that starts with resilient and productive teams and processes. And so before we move on to the questions, we're going to have time for a couple. If I can just scroll up here. I want to leave you with an offer, right? To help you get started on your journey of ending burnout. We've put together a really comprehensive set of resources to help you and your team implement the strategies we discussed today. So this bundle includes the agency problem, which identifies common issues agencies face and shows you how standard operating procedures can align your team effectively. We have the ultimate onboarding checklist, so you never miss a step when your new hires are coming on. And then finally, there's an SOP roadmap, so you can start defining and documenting your SOPs. So to get this, we're going to ask that you scan the QR code. My team's going to put the link in the chat here as well if you just want to click on that. We'd love your feedback on this workshop today. And then once you give us the feedback, we're going to send you this entire package as well, just as a thanks for being here today. So make sure you go and scan that and give us that feedback so that we can improve and work with helping more people just like you. So that's it. That's the sell. It's a really soft one, but we wanted to just leave you with something valuable here today. So thank you for being here. And I'll see if there's any other questions. Yes, the recording will be shared. We're going to be putting this out on YouTube afterwards, and it will live here on LinkedIn, of course. Daily commitment, yes. I am likely way late in discovering subtask headers, but this is so helpful and so simple. You're very welcome. And thanks for the birthday love. That's obviously why I told you. But thank you so much for being here today. If there are no other questions, we're going to call it. We're going to end the workshop today. But thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me. It was really such a joy. So we'll see you again in another workshop. Bye for now.